So March was a really turbulent month and resulted in us having to move yards to increase Basil's turnout. And actually it seemed to work, which meant that in April we were able to plan in some fun things and some fun days out. So the first thing we had planned in April was to hire a horse box and head off to Woburn Forest for the day, where you can park your horse box and go for a ride around the forest. And it's a really lovely setting, and there's a lovely lady called Steph who organised it. You can either just park at her house and go off on your own. She does one-to-one rides, and she also does group rides, and she'll just guide you around the forest. So we parked the horse box up, and we was tacking Basil up, and he was being really fidgety, and was just I was struggling on my own really, me and my husband trying to organise this. And Steph saw that we were struggling to tack him up and get on him, and we were just getting a bit stressed. So she kindly offered to tack up and come for a hack around the forest with me. And I'm really, really glad she did, because Basil felt a lot more confident with another horse, and we had a really great time. So she guided us around the forest. It was about an hour's route in total. We went up and down hills, and we had a little spook when a deer shot out, but overall he was really well behaved, and it was a really nice day out. And it was really nice to take him out ridden, but in a really relaxed environment. There was no pressure, we had no show, nothing like that to deal with. It was just a nice get on and ride around a lovely woods, and it was really, really nice day out, and I highly recommend it. A couple of days later, we had our first lesson again with Matt Cox. So Matt obviously came out around January time and started teaching me, and then I fell off, completely lost my bottle, and yeah, everything went to pot. But this is my first lesson back, so I feel like I'm in a position now where I can actually move forward with Basil. So Matt came out, we had a great ride, and it was a really positive experience. And it was really great for Matt as well to see a more chilled out Basil. The following week, I had a super busy week at work and was a bit stressed about the whole situation. We were hosting our American saddle fitters, and there was a lot going on, a lot to deal with. And one morning, I'd arranged a really early morning hack with one of my work colleagues, and Basil just wasn't up for it that day. As soon as I got on, he felt very anxious and started riding down the road, and he was kicking out. Met my friend, and as soon as we hit the field, I thought he was going to have a complete meltdown. So we decided that wasn't our day. We turned around and we called it quits. But it did knock my confidence a little, because I started questioning, are we slipping back into our old ways? So we did a few more days of then lunging, a bit more groundwork and a bit more hand work, and he had a bit of time off. He also had the physio come out just to check him over, just to make sure he's not sore anywhere. But as a saddle fitter, my instinct is to always go, there's an issue here somewhere, and is it the saddle or is there something else going on with him? We don't really know. So he had a bit of time off, he had the physio, and then I slowly brought him back into work again, and we seemed to get back on track. We then took him out to Aylesford Equestrian Centre, where we had booked onto a hacking simulator day where you can do it ridden or in hand, and that's in their cross-country arena. And this is hosted by Lisa from Freelance Equine Trick Training. And it's a really fun day out. So we've previously done the obstacle course at Truesdale. This was obstacles combined with things like water, ditches, steps, things like that. So anything you might see out whilst hacking. And it was a really nice, confident building day for Basil. So we started off first of all with the obstacles, so things like a rubber mat on the floor or the wooden bridge, things like that. But within 2 minutes, he had literally trodden on my foot again. Thankfully this time it was only my toes and I could still walk forward. So yeah, we carried on. But typical Basil jumping straight on my foot. We went over the obstacles, and the aim was then to get them to try and stop on the obstacles, which proved a little bit more difficult, but we managed to get there in the end. So we're making small improvements, and I was really pleased with him. Then it was time for the water. Lisa helped build his confidence to get him in the water, and actually he quite enjoyed himself when he was in there. He had a step to get out, and then he decided this is a great place to have a nice roll and get covered in sand. And once he started rolling, he thought he was having a great time, and that was obviously clearly his favourite part of the day. We then went up some steps, over some small ditches and down some hills again. And overall, I was really, really pleased with him. I think he actually quite enjoyed himself as well, seeing and doing new things. And it was a really, really great day out. And I'd love to do it next time ridden, so just to build the progression there. A couple of days later, we then had a session booked in at Pickering Grange, and that was with Russell from Centre Biomechanics, and it was a biomechanical assessment. This was to assess sort of how straight I am, how straight Basil is our saddle aligned, everything like that. But I was really, really nervous taking Basil this day because the 2 days prior he'd been really naughty in the arena to ride at home, and I was really nervous about taking him to a new arena, indoor riding and a different environment and everything, particularly as he's been a bit naughty. But I was really, really pleased with him. Russell allowed us the time to get adjusted to the environment and let me walk him around in hand a little bit and then get on and again just let him adjust. We were able to trot down the centre line with the jacket on with the crosses so he could see how straight we were, and he also put sensors or markers on his bum and his saddle, and it actually said we were actually quite straight and quite in line, which was great. We got a tick in the box, which is brilliant. My balance obviously isn't as good as it could be, and actually I do feel that myself, that when I used to ride years ago, obviously I've been out of it now for 10 years, I used to have a lot better balance because I think you just develop it over time and it just sort of stays. That is something I'm working on and something I'm going to work on a lot in May. Really trying to build that core strength, the balance, and just try and become a better rider and more stable rider for Basil. But overall, on the day, I was really, really pleased with Basil. He was really well behaved. I think, again, he really enjoyed himself being in a new environment. And Russell was able to provide some really good tips on how I can get Basil going better and what I can do when Basil tends to curl, overbend, how I can sort of get him to go more forward and sort of poke his nose out a little bit more. So I had a really good day and I was really, really pleased with Basil and how he behaved. So that wrapped up April for us. So overall we had a really good month and really enjoyed ourselves going out doing different things. So for May, there's a saying that you hear every time you go on an aeroplane, and it's basically, if anything happens, you put your own oxygen mask on first before you help anybody else. And that's exactly what I'm going to spend time doing in May. I'm going to try and fix me as a rider so that I can in turn help Basil by becoming a better, more stable rider. So in May, it's going to be a lot of things that I can do to improve myself and how I ride, and yeah, just become a better rider for him. And what was the cost of our adventures this month? So our total spend this month is, and to be honest, this is probably the cheapest it's been so far, but it's still quite high, and obviously it does include horse box hires multiple times and things like that. So I'll see you next month.